Well, thank you all for having us. We are joined by two students who are going to share their perspective. A big round of applause for Chai and Jules, who you'll hear from. All right. Well, we are honored to share the space with all the other speakers today to talk about recovery in King County. And we're really excited to share with you an innovative program whose goal is to educate students working recovery programs in a sober environment. In addition to academics, the program's reach expands beyond the walls of the school, where students are building happy, healthy, thriving, and recovery-oriented lifestyles in their communities. During our presentation, we'll describe how the school came to be, and we'll talk about parts of the program, and you'll get to hear some of the students' perspectives on what it's like to actually be in the school. That's the best part of our presentation, spoiler alert. So a little bit about the history. The Seattle Recovery School was established in 2015, so it's been around for quite a while, as a partnership between Seattle Public Schools, Interagency Academy, Queen Anne Campus, quite a mouthful, and the King County Behavioral Health and Recovery Division. It was prompted by a 2013 report from Washington State, which found only 25% of young people in publicly funded substance use disorder treatment graduated from high school. And if students had a co-occurring mental health condition, that graduation rate dropped to 17%. Pretty sad rates, and we knew we could do better for our students. So right now, the recovery school at Interagency Queen Anne Campus is the only public recovery school in Washington State, and it is our shared vision to open more. So in your folder, we have two briefs. We have to give a big shout out to the Strategy Evaluation and Learning Team at Puget Sound Educational Service District for their partnership in developing these briefs for us. They also put together an enrollment brochure so people know how to access these services. And you can read about the rationale and framework for recovery schools in the introductory brief, and then you can learn about the student characteristics and outcomes in the data brief. One particular highlight that you can read about is that students who attended the recovery school for at least 3 months between 2016 and 2021, out of those students, 70% either earned or were working toward a high school diploma. And they were doing it while also working a recovery program. It's quite impressive. So the school is a vital part of supporting young people in achieving this very important developmental milestone of graduating from high school. Okay. I will pass it off to Seth, who's going to share a little bit more about details.
First of all, thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out and listening to us. And I'm mostly just so excited for these young people to share their stories. They are the real story. So, but I did want to get a chance to just tell a little bit about the school. I've been there pretty much since the beginning in 2015. We are located currently on the top of Queen Anne. So if you don't know where that is, just a little bit north of the Seattle Center. We are a totally voluntary program, so nobody is forced into going. That being said, I'm sure, as the students can attest to, probably many are strongly encouraged by caregivers and guardians and counselors and things of that nature. We do get referrals from all over the place. So, like I said, counseling offices at schools, certainly treatment centers. And actually, I'm kind of proud to say, I think the main way that we have actually received students is mouth-to-mouth students actually referring their friends, which a lot of times I'm a little skeptical of, and like, what suggests that they'll be ready? But it turns out these students have created a community that makes it very much realistic to get and stay sober. This program is available to students within the Seattle School District, as well as those living out of the district. So Certainly, if you're within the Seattle School District limits, we have open enrollment. So that is something that is, achievable very quickly. We can usually onboard a student within about a week or so. And one thing that we've been able to do pretty successfully is, thanks to cooperation from outside districts and the kind of the recognition of the severity of the challenges that young people are facing with substance use disorder, it's become a much more efficient process to get students to come from out of district. So they do an inter-district transfer, and that can happen within a week or two as well. They do need to probably get their own transportation, so that's one area where we're still looking for funding. And a little bit, we supply ORCA cards, things of that nature. What I can say about this program is, I have never seen something outside of maybe young people, 12-step communities and groups, and that has made sobriety so attainable and realistic for young people as the one that I've seen at the recovery school, for the student body that is presently there and the several hundred students that have been there over the past 5 or 6 years. It's a pretty ideal, situation that if young people were coming out of residential treatment, they were to come directly to us. That's the ideal route. That being said, and I say that because, then you can pretty close to guarantee that kids have been sober for a while. It sort of helps to ensure that the fragility of other students is not compromised by somebody coming in basically in active addiction. However, that being said, we have largely, as our own understanding of how to serve the greater Seattle area and suburbs effectively, and we start to increase our understanding about what equitable services looks like, we have all but done away with big requirements on how much a sobriety a student actually has when they come in. We're really looking for a super strong commitment. We're looking for, for instance, if a student wants to come to the school, they will contact me directly. We can set up an interview pretty much the same week. Like, they could come as soon as tomorrow. They would sit in on the afternoon recovery support group that we do, which is probably going to look similar to a pretty advanced outpatient group or something of that nature. It's very much student-led and student-driven. So that's a pretty amazing thing that we're doing. We have, as our school day is going to look very similar to a smaller alternative high school setting, where we have certainly plenty of students that are pretty far behind on credits. So we have the infrastructure in place that they can retrieve credits pretty quickly on their way to achieving a high school diploma while being supported in their sobriety. The school day, of course, ends at 3 p.m. So we go 9 to 3 p.m. each day. And because we recognize that most of our students are going to be up for another 9 or 10 or more hours after that on weeknights, we have really worked closely with various community partners, and I would be remiss without saying hugely supported by local Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous groups that can help support our students outside of the school day. There is an alternative peer group that is referred to as Bridges, which is similar to what you might think of as a Boys and Girls Club for kids that are in early recovery. So a lot of our students go to that kind of programming after the school day. What we have seen be the most effective is we've got the students effectively make that community at the school their new social group. And so they're hanging out and bonding, connecting with each other, supporting each other, not only during the day, but into the evenings and weekends as well. Our expectation is full sobriety with probably more of a harm reduction approach when it comes to nicotine, tobacco, and caffeine. We don't try to monitor that. We try to encourage students and help them from a standpoint of health if they want to tackle those, in addition to being sober. All I can say is that this is one of our biggest goals is to see, if you know anything about the Seattle area and you know anything about Queen Anne, that is a very affluent neighborhood in the Seattle area. And so it is simply not all that realistic that that students maybe south of Columbia City or, south of White Center or Burien and Shirley have access to that. We've seen this on occasion happen, right? But we would love to see the emergence and recognition that recovery high schools are meeting needs that we have never seen met before in this community. We'd love to see one in South Seattle, in Highline District, in Tukwila District. So I just think it's a very, very impactful school, and I'm just so proud of the kids, so honored to be there, and I don't want to take up any more time when you can hear from them yourselves. So thank you very much. Okay. Can you hear me? No. How about now? Okay. I'm going to be asking a few of the questions, and then they can go ahead and answer as I pass on the microphone here. So you have your own mics. Okay. You're ahead of the game. The first question for Jules is going to be, how did you find your way to the Recovery High School?
Hello? Oh, hi. Hello? Sorry. When I was in active use, I had a friend who was also in active use, but she told me about the school, and so I always I knew about it, but I just wasn't really ready to stop using, but I knew that it was there. And I never paid much attention to it, but eventually I went to the hospital and I went to their behavioral and psychiatric unit, and I was there for about a month, and like every day that I was there was another day without drugs. So I just my head was clearer and less foggy, and I could just think straighter. And so I don't know, the first week I was like, maybe I should just do less drugs. The second week I was like, okay, maybe I should only stick to one drug. And then the third week I was just like, I don't think I should be doing any drugs. Like I don't really see this working out for me. So yeah, so with a little bit of hope, I remembered the school. So I thought, like, why not? I got in contact with Seth, and then Seth, and then I don't know, I just talked to him, and I got enrolled pretty quickly. After that, I met the students a little bit, but then I went to treatment for 9 months, because I kept relapsing. I wanted to do it my way, and it didn't work out. So I finally figured out that I needed help. And then I came back, and now I go almost every day for 2 years.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Jules. And Chai, same question for you. How did you find your way to the recovery school in the first place?
Hello. I had a substance abuse counselor that my parents had signed me up for sessions with, and she had offered this school to me when I was in active addiction, and at the time I was just like, I'm perfectly fine where I am, going to the high school I go to, and I saw no really end to the path that I was on, of just using every day, and just that was kind of my only goal in life at the time. And it eventually unfortunately, it led up to the point where I had to lose pretty much everything in order to tell myself and know that I really do need something like this in my life to kind of turn it around. And so sitting in the psych unit at Seattle Children's after an overdose, my substance abuse counselor came into my room and said, I have Seth's number on my phone right now. If you want to call him, I'm not going to press you about this any further. I'm just saying right now, if you want to call him, we can do that and get you into the recovery school after you go to rehab. And I agreed, and I went to rehab. I came back, and almost immediately, about a week after I came back from rehab, I hit a meeting. I saw I saw a lot of the kids from the school at the meeting, and I got to go to the school. I got to tour. I got to meet everybody. I got to build my social group back up from the friends that I've like abandoned because they're not good for me anymore. And it's just been a really good experience for me.
That's outstanding. Okay, and Jules, next question for you. How has the school empowered you in your journey in recovery?
Hello? Oh, cool. In a lot of ways, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the school gave me a lot of connections. Like, because of the school, I got to make new friends. Because when you're using and you only hang out with a certain type of people, when you want to get help and they don't, it's really, really hard. So I started making new sober friends, which is really cool. And then those sober friends were taking me to meetings, like NAA meetings, so that was really cool. And then I also learned about APG, which I think Seth mentioned, which is a really, really good program. I graduated from that program like, I don't know, a month ago, but I used to go every day and it's really fun. We even like on Wednesdays, we would go on outings, like anything. Oh, and in the summer there's camping trips, but anything from like paintball to watching a movie, stuff like that. It's just basically like you get together and you actually get to hang out with people that are good for you, not people that just want to use drugs. But yeah, I think the school, I don't know, the school was really, really good for me, and also Seth was really, really good to me, and he just like, I don't know, Seth was definitely one of the people that saved my life, and he's a really great person to have at the school. Yeah, I don't know, the school has given me a lot, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Jules. Chai, how has the school empowered you in your journey in recovery?
Mainly, the number one thing for me is just the fact that all the staff and all the students at the school really believe in you and want you to succeed and just want that more. They just want that more of you than anybody that was in your life previously, besides your parents maybe. And just the fact that you and like all the other staff just didn't, after the times I relapsed again and again and again, you just didn't put your hands up and say he's a lost cause. He's never gonna get better. Like, no, he's going to rehab again. He needs to hit more meetings. Like he needs to have like a plan, a meeting log, just all these things that you guys can put in place. And just because there's been so many times in my addiction where people have just been like, you're a lost cause. Like, you're such a drain on me that I just can't be there to support you anymore. And that the school just never does that. No matter how bad it gets, you never just completely disconnect from a student. And even if the student decides to disconnect themselves, they still have a presence at the school. There's still going to be students that reach out to them and be like, where are you? Are you okay? Like, you haven't come to school. Like, you've been absent. Oh, I just want to check in on you. I want to make sure you're okay. Like, do you want to hit a meeting? Like, just things that you would never get at my previous high school or most other high schools in the state. The community is just amazing. And it's something that I'm extremely grateful for. And it's just like nothing short of a blessing that I'm able to get up and come to a school where I can feel like, number one, just everybody knows me. And like, even if I might not talk to some people, I know that everybody at that school loves each other and like has this mutual respect for one another, because we're all fighting the same thing. We're all in the same boat here. We're all teenagers who messed up previously and are now trying to make ourselves better. And that's just something that you can't not respect about somebody. And I just really like that about the school. So.
Outstanding. Okay, Jules, what would you like others to know about supporting students and young people in recovery?
Okay, so as I think about like two ways this question is being asked. The first way, like just, I guess, solely like one student. I think, like, especially if they're like your kid or someone, you know, if you're dealing with somebody that is a teenager in active addiction, or honestly anybody, I feel like the two main things are, like, one, it is not your fault, and it never is. Even if they straight up say like this is your fault, it's not. And also that this is like a really huge thing, that they have to want it for themselves. You can't just, I don't know, it's really hard, especially if it's your kid or someone that you love very, very much. You can't, it feels like you want to save them, but you really can't. They have to want it for themselves, and I know that can be really hard. So I don't know if anybody, if that's what you needed to hear, you're welcome. But also, like, I also think about this, like how to help us as a whole, like just any student that's in recovery in, say, Washington. I would say probably more schools, because our school is awesome and it's like really good and helpful, great community, but there's only one school and it's only so big. It's also more like, you know, like I'm from Federal Way. Like if I went to, we do have students pretty in the South, but that's a pretty like far drive to make. And if I still lived in Federal Way, I don't know if I would be wanting to go to Queen Anne every day. So I think more schools, especially more in the South, because this isn't just a problem in the city, it's a problem everywhere, and kids are dying. But yeah, this is a real issue, and I've lost some friends, and I think just more schools, more resources, more empathy. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jules. Chai, what would you like others to know and everyone here to know about supporting students and young people in recovery?
When I hear that question, I think about parents a lot, because I know how unbelievably difficult it is to parent. And I don't know, but I can infer like how unbelievably difficult it is to parent an addict. Like I can get as mad as I want at my parents sometimes, and it's just like they're trying their best. They're trying as hard as they can. There's no parenting book that teaches you how to raise somebody addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I just think just being able to give them that kind of like benefit of the doubt is just, it's helped me a lot. But for them, I think what Jules touched on is just realizing that it's out of their hands. Like you can send somebody to rehab, they can stay in the room all day at rehab. You can send somebody to outpatient, they can sleep all day in outpatient. Like if they want this, they're going to put in the work. And if they don't, then unfortunately it could take something drastic happening for them to finally actually want it. But that's what's had to happen to a lot of the kids at the school. And it sucks that it has to get that way, but sometimes that's the only thing to really make you want to change as an addict. And yeah, just realizing that it's out of your hands, and that you can hide all the alcohol, you can lock up all the meds, you can put cameras on the doors, you can do all of that, and an addict is still going to find a way to use if they really want to. And something that I've just kind of developed with my parents is just like a hands-off approach of just like, I'm going to this meeting today, I'm hanging out with these people today, like I'm doing this for my recovery. Like when I had a job, just working, and just them kind of letting me live as normal of a life as I can possibly live, just to make me feel like I'm not constantly just having them in my face about, oh, like I get home like 30 minutes late, do I need to drug test you? Do I need to search your bag? Do I need to do all this? Like it's just hearing that makes me feel like they don't realize the work that I'm putting in and the effort that it takes to wake up every day and hit the pillow every day sober. And I also just can't blame them, because like I try to make this point when I talk about my parents a lot, is just if it took 5 years of addiction to break their trust, I'm not going to make it back in 11 months. So that's also very true. So just there's a lot that can be said for the parents, but obviously I don't know, because I'm not a parent myself, but if your student goes to the school, like the recovery school, even if they're not fully on board with being sober yet, they're surrounded by kids that do want to be sober and are fully on board with it every single day, and are pressured to go to meetings. And it's just like the pure positive peer pressure is like one of the best things about the school, is just like, instead of having that feeling of like, oh, I'm so cool because I do drugs. When you walk into like a normal public high school, if you relapse and walk into the school the next day, it's a sense of shame, which I don't think is avoidable. I think there's always going to be some shame associated with using and going to the school, but I think it's necessary for some of the earlier kids. So.
Outstanding, you guys. I wanted to pose this question, and you do not have to answer this, but I also happen to know you personally and just have some insight as to how hard you've worked for this. And so I don't want to take away an opportunity for you to share something that you're proud of. Do y'all want to share your sobriety dates and how long you've been sober?
I have been sober or clean since December 4th, 2020. So I think almost 2.5 years. Yeah. Thank you.
Fast approaching 1,000 days.
I've been sober since June 2nd, 2022, so around 11 months.
Thank you guys and congratulations. And in addition to that, is there anything that you would want to share about the quality of that recovery? What is just something else that you've achieved or accomplished that you maybe never thought you would, or that didn't seem possible when you were just getting sober, or certainly in active addiction?
Pretty much everything I'm doing now, I didn't think I would do. Matter of fact, I didn't even think I was gonna be alive at this point. I didn't care about school or anything because I just figured like I'd be gone by 17 latest, and I'm about to turn 19, which is crazy. So I'm going, not college in this fall, but I'm going to cosmetology school, and I'm in a relationship now with the guy that I met at the school, so he's sober too, which is awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I was using, I would look at kids like me and feel bad for them, or think like how much of a square they are, or just like, but I love my life. Like, I love where I am. And the things that I complain about now are like, oh, I don't know, my makeup doesn't match my outfit. And before I was like wondering if I was going to wake up alive, which is like, it's just crazy. And I'm so grateful for what I have, like genuinely. Also, a lot of it I owe to NA and the program that I work and the sponsor that I have. But yeah, I'm just happy, and I didn't even think I would get to be happy ever. So thank you.
Yeah, what Jules said really, I can really relate to, is just, I never planned to really make it past high school. All of my plans for the future just kind of stopped past high school, because I fully wasn't expecting to make it out of that. But now I can just live life and find joy and happiness, and like get a high from normal things and just fun things, like riding my bike, like going on a picnic, working out, like stuff that I would never even consider, just sitting in my room 2 years ago. And it's really amazing that I can go out and do things without thinking, oh, I need to be high for this, or listen to music without thinking, oh, this would sound so much better if I was high. Like, I can genuinely enjoy things now, and just I have so much to be grateful for. I'm just like being able to be in like an amazing relationship, being able to work a job, being able to have independence, being able to just own my own phone, just simple things like that, because my parents obviously took away my phone a long time ago. So just being able to like work up to get money for my own phone, just have that feeling of like making things myself and like being the reason that I'm happy, not any substance or not any other person, just me being the reason that I'm happy. And it's just an amazing feeling. So.
Thank you all so much for the opportunity, and thank you both so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.